So this is a new project, and the only thing I've done is installed the GameFlow asset down here, and we're going to recreate the Rollaball tutorial using GameFlow as opposed to traditional scripting. So first you have to just set up your assets, so I'll go ahead and do that. That'll take about a minute, I guess. Create a plane, go ahead and reset that for the position, expand it so it's 2 by 2, and then we'll create a material for that. Material in that floor, and then we'll go ahead and just duplicate that while we have it here. But I don't know why this thing, I double click and it just does not take. Wow. Okay, so that'll be edges. So for the floor, we'll make that blue. Good. For the edges, we'll make that black. Good. We'll apply the blue floor to the floor, then we'll create our edges out of elongated boxes. Alright, so let's see. So I want that to be 20. If I remember right. Is that right? Yeah. Alright. So put that in place. And then duplicate it with Control D. Duplicate that and rotate it. Put it in position. I'm not being very precise here. Duplicate it again. And there we go. Oh, got to apply the material. So edges. All right. All right, so that's our basis for the game. I guess this could be stand me move down just a little bit. All right. Then we want to create our player. So we'll create 3D object, sphere, and I'm going to actually reset that and then bring it up slightly. Okay, so we'll just keep that white, and we'll name that player and tag in player, which we'll need for later on. All right, and I'll go ahead and create an empty game object, and I'll call that edges, and just bring those in here just so it's less cluttered up here. All right, so now we can start coding, as it were. So the first thing we want to do is add some code to our ball so we can use the keys on the keyboard to move him around. So we'll just go ahead and come down here and add component, and the same as if we were to add a script and bring up MonoDevelop, we're just going to add the GameFlow code, as it were, right here to the inspector. So we'll come down here to GameFlow, and you have 3 options. And most of the time you'll go into programs, but this time we're going to go into data because we need to create a variable. So we'll select variable here. And here's the variable name. They call it ID. I'll just name this direction. It could be named anything. And we're going to change the type to a vector3. Okay, so now we're going to add yet another component, and this time we're going to select programs and on update. So here's all the different things that can happen. That can, the methods that are part of Unity and C#. So we're going to use on update. This is kind of like having an on update in the script with just an open bracket and closed bracket, nothing in between. And then we can add additional code or actions by clicking on add action right here. So when you click an action, you just get a whole laundry list of stuff here, and you can filter through it by using various letters. So if I just want things that contain CR, I type in CR and it eliminates everything except for those things that have CR. And the whole thing is alphabetical, so you kind of have to know what you're looking for in the first place. It'd be kind of nice if they did it differently, or at least had an option for a different way of sorting, because this is a lot of stuff, which means effectively that you still really need to know how to program. You don't have to remember the specifics of what to type in, thankfully. Well, you sort of do. I mean, these are various methods, right? So you need to know what they are and what they do. So we are going to set a vector component. Okay. And I just clicked on this so to show you, okay, here's a little description of what this does. But to add it, you click the little plus sign right here, and it adds it to your onUpdate script right here. And so for the vector, we want to drag in this this variable right here. So we'll put that in. We'll maintain it as x. We need both an x and a z to move the ball. And then let's see, for a value, we want to click on this little dot. And we have three little tabs up here. We'll click the Assets tab, and then we'll use the input axis X. So there you go. I just clicked on that once, and that gets added right here. So now we want to duplicate this action because we have it for the X, but we also need it for the Z. So we'll change this to Z. And I'm not sure why there's not a Z here, but there isn't. So the only option is Y, and for some reason that works. I don't understand why yet. Don't understand why. But I added that in there, and the direction variable has already been added, or came over when this thing was copied. So that's the first thing. One thing I didn't do at the very beginning was to add a what is it called? A rigid body component. That's right. Otherwise, this thing just isn't going to move. So I just add the rigid body component, and I'm going to move that up by 2, just so that all my scripts are on the bottom here in one place. If I recall, I think that's all it's needed to actually have the ball play. Let's give this a try. Nope, I missed something. Okay, let's figure out what I missed. Ah, yes, so I forgot to add the force, and that's something that I didn't even put in my notes, but you have to add the force. So I believe we're going to click on Add Action down here. I could be wrong. We'll give it a try. Add Action, and then Add Force right there. Okay, good. So add that right there. And let's see, the rigid body. So we want to grab the rigid body up here and drag that down, because that's what we're applying it to. And let's see, for the force, we want to change it from force to direction, right? And let's see, I'm pretty sure we want to drag this direction variable here. Right, okay, so it changed, good. Magnitude, I'll just put in a 5. You can up that if you want the ball to be influenced a little bit more. You could change it to 8 or 10 or whatever. And we'll keep that as is. Now this thing should work. Okay, so it is working, but I've got this thing facing in the wrong direction. So I've got to spin it around just slightly like this. You can see that it's facing in the wrong direction by the little arrows there. And then I'll select my camera, game object, line with view, play again. Hitting the right mouse button, the left, or not mouse button, but the arrows, down and up. Okay. So maybe we do want to increase that force slightly. So we'll select the sphere again. Player rather, and change that force to maybe an 8. That'll probably work better, but it does work. Oh, scene 1. I should also point out that this is the first time I've saved, so even though I've been making all these changes and adding to it, I never really had to save for it to actually play and work, which is really kind of nice. I mean, it just automatically saves as if it were already working. So we've got the first part done. We're moving the ball around with the keyboard or with the keys. So the next thing we want to do is add the little pickup objects that the ball can hit, and which can cause you to gain points. So we'll do that by creating a cube. So here's our cube, and we'll make that a little smaller. Okay, 0.5. I'll go ahead and reset it. Up, didn't mean to do that. 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and then bring it back up again. Okay. So All right, so now I think I want to add a color to it. So I will just duplicate this edges. I don't know what it takes. Okay, so this is a pickup. And we'll just make this a yellow color. And we will apply that to our pickup, which we will name pickup, just so it's easier to understand. Right. All right, so I want that to be a little higher. I'm going to zoom in so I can see it better. And then I'll just go ahead and apply the pickup material. Okay, there we go. So right now it's just a cube sitting there, and we want to make it so that it spins. It just doesn't really do anything other than, I don't know, adds a little flair to it, I guess. It's not even necessary. Oh, we have to do another update, right? Okay, yeah. Because you can't rotate it by itself. It has to be part of some sort of method. So here we are. We've got an update. And then to that, we'll do a set rotation. Set rotation. All right. Add that. And we'll set values 15, 30, 45. And multiplier, I don't know, whatever we want it to be, I guess. That just is the speed. No. The multiplier we don't want to be a number. We want that to be time.delta time, don't we? Okay, so time. There it is. All right, so delta time. So that should spin now. Yes, excellent. Okay, so now we have one cube. We want to make a prefab out of that, so I'll drag that down to here. Now we got the pickup. And now we want to use a feature to sort of automatically disperse and create a circle of these pickup cubes. So to do that, I have the cube selected, and I'm going to go up to Tools, GameFlow, Macros. Macros window displays this little dialog. And I've gotten hung up here before, so I'm going to see how well I can do. I'm going to double click this to find it. And when you do that, it shows up over here. So we don't want 30 duplicates. I'm going to go with a dozen and a radius of, say, 6. Okay. And let's see. So not sure what I have to do to make that work. Maybe press this one. No, it created them, but I don't know where it created them. So I'm going to undo that. Alright, so where is my pickup? There's my pickup. It's kind of, can't see it very well. Alright. Alright, so now I've got this set the way I want. I'm going to just click here. Ah, there we go. Okay. And with this still selected, I'll press delete because I don't want that extra one in there. And now we have all these and they're all the same. They have the same programming applied to them. So if I click this, then I can use the keys and move around. They're not actually pickups yet. They're just rotating cubes, but they're all the same. So now we want to make them pickups. So we want to come down here to where our pickup prefab is, and we want to do a couple things to it. We want to add a rigid body. First we want to check is trigger for the box collider up here, and we want to add a rigid body. And with the rigid body applied, we want to make sure that we have is kinematic checked because we are going to be controlling this with code. So now we can come down here and add a component, and we want to pick an event, which is on trigger enter. On trigger enter, and that's down here. We'll add an action so that when the trigger is entered, something happens. And we're going to search on if. There it is. So if, and it's got all these conditions you can add, we'll add a condition. If the tag is equal to tag of the player, so we want to drag the player in there. from here to, I think that's right. No? Oh no, I'm not sure I understand this, but you're supposed to drag this into here, the other game object, drag that in there. And then if that is equal to player, then we're going to do something. So what are we going to do? We're going to add another condition, come over here, and we are going to deactivate the cube or the collectible. Deactivate. It's not in there. Oh, we're not adding another condition, are we? We're adding an action. So we want to add the action, deactivate. Deactivate game object. Good. Okay. Deactivate the game object, and we want that to be the object we want deactivated is the pickup. So we'll drag that in there. All right. So that should do it. If I go right up here, boom, yes, it works. Excellent. Okay, so at this point we do have a working game. The only thing we don't have is a scoring system.